Tonight, Iran threatens to strike the Jewish state as Israel marks 300 days of war.
Israel is at a very high level of readiness for any scenario.
The latest on tensions in the Middle East. Plus,
this is believed to be the biggest prisoner exchange in post-Soviet history.
Americans freed from Russian imprisonment, the extraordinary mission to bring them home. And churches hampered from helping the homeless, how they're fighting back to serve the least among these.
This is why we filed a lawsuit, because of our religious freedom.
All this and more tonight on Faith Nation. Several Americans free tonight after a historic prisoner swap with Russia. Welcome to Faith Nation from the CBN News Bureau in Washington. I'm John Jessup. Well, 4 Americans who in some cases endured years imprisoned in Russia are finally coming home this evening after a prisoner exchange. Among them, U.S. Marine veteran Paul Whelan and the Wall Street Journal's Evan Gershkovich. CBN Washington correspondent Michelle London has been tracking the developments throughout the day and joins us now with the latest. Michelle.
Well, John, certainly a day of much joy and relief for all families of Americans freed from Russia today on false charges. This release is part of a massive swap of 24 prisoners with at least 7 countries involved. It's the largest prisoner swap since the Cold War. Moments after becoming a freed man, Evan Gershkovich, a Wall Street Journal reporter today, appearing on the Journal's front page. He was detained in Russia in 2023 after being charged with espionage and was sentenced to 16 years. But before that, Paul Whelan, a former U.S. Marine, was arrested and detained in Russia back in 2018 on spying charges. Also released today, Russian-American journalist Alsu Kurmasheva and Vladimir Kara-Murza. President Biden was able to meet with and personally deliver the great news to each of the 4 families who gathered at the White House.
Their brutal ordeal is over, and they're free. Moments ago, the families and I were able to speak to them on the telephone from the Oval Office. They're out of Russia. Earlier today, they were flown to Turkey, and soon they'll be wheels up on their way home to see their families.
Now, of those 24 prisoners released today, 16 of them had been detained in Russia. Those 16 prisoners were exchanged for 8 Russians who'd been held in the U.S., Germany, Norway, and other countries. John?
All right, Michelle London reporting such great news today. Thank you, Michelle. Well, turning to the Middle East, Israel officially taking responsibility for the killing of a key Hamas leader, stoking fears of a broader war as Iran already is continuing its calls for a direct attack on Israel. The New York Times reports that Ismail Haniyeh was killed by a bomb planted in his Tehran guest house. Today, at his funeral, Iranian leaders vowed revenge. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responding, saying Israel is ready for any attack.
We will exact a very heavy price for any act of aggression against us from any arena.
Israel's northern border, new threats from Hezbollah. The Iranian-backed terror group is promising an open battle on all fronts after Israel killed one of its top commanders in Lebanon earlier this week. Well, 10 months after the Hamas attack on October 7th, Israel's sons, daughters, and fathers continue shipping off to war while others are still being held hostage inside Gaza. As CBN national security correspondent Caitlin Burke reports, the ongoing conflict and potential of war in the north is testing the resilience of a people all too familiar with hardship.
Frozen in time. That's the feeling for many within the Jewish community ever since Hamas attacked Israel.
The morning of the 7th, everybody remembers where they were at that moment.
Active duty and reserve soldiers alike immediately packing their bags and responding to a call that had not yet come.
He just picked up his gear, got all his things for reserve duty. His friend from his crew picked him up and they drove straight to the base.
And he got ready in 5 minutes and he gave me a hug and he said, I'll take your car and I'll bring it back. Next time I saw my car, it was 3.5 months later.
Family members left behind to wonder, worry, and hold down the home front. Then and now.
I guess I can say it's been a really rough time, a really restless time, a very insecure time, a time where Dad, most of the time is not at home. And also when he is at home, we are not sure when they will call him to go back to the reserve.
When her husband deployed, Yael, also a reservist, felt most useful at the military base. A dentist by trade, she put her skills to work, despite being pregnant with her first child.
Like, we're all, let's say, dentists, teachers, I don't know, lawyers, but then we have like this separate parallel person where we're in the Army, and this is our job in the Army, and we're medics and we're officers, and it's like a whole different person, and you know how to be this person and this person, and you can switch like between these two different people.
Amira used art as an outlet for her fear and anxiety after her son deployed.
And I started just dotting leaves, and I saw that I was dotting away, and suddenly 4 hours passed and I hadn't thought of anything. So honestly, all I did for the first month is dot leaves. For about 12 hours a day, I have thousands of beautiful leaves dotted. And that was my therapy.
What started as a distraction for her mind became an inspiration for others overcome by war when it was featured in a Knesset exhibit on the resilience of soldiers and families.
And I see from my friends, we all going through the anxiety, sleepless nights, taking medication, having panic attacks, trying to be strong when the boys come back from the Army and, holding ourselves. And as soon as they leave, we fall apart again.
With her husband still cycling through deployments, Crystal knows that feeling all too well. Still, each day she puts on a brave face for her 4 children.
At one side, life just keeps on going. The children were in school, now they have vacation, they have like a program that they do things in the vacation. And then suddenly there will be rockets fired and you're saying, hey kids, we're okay, everything is fine. And you know it's not okay, and it's not fine. And you're all the time acting.
The nation, surrounded by enemies, is familiar with living under constant threat. Although this fight is putting the resilience of the Israeli people to the test, making it necessary for outside organizations to step in and provide critical support. Throughout the war, the Atalef Foundation has worked to meet the needs of Israel's most elite Special Forces unit and also their families. Crystal, Amira, and Yael are all part of this community.
So I know that Atalef Foundation very, very well throughout the years, and constantly they were reaching out, trying to do different projects and support groups. And there was like a phone call that you could always call. Also for, if you want to ask questions, if you want to know what's going on.
Psychological sessions for the woman. Dad organizes nights out. I was in night out, I think in March. They took us to some kind of stand-up, nice performance. It was really nice. And I met the other woman over there. And I guess it was the first time that actually went out since the 7th of October.
The foundation's sister organization, American Friends of Israeli Navy SEALs, has raised millions for soldiers and their families since this current war began, including support for 500 spouses who are managing their homes, families, and careers alone, and a reintegration program for when their loved ones finally return. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Washington.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. We'll hear back in the United States. Both presidential candidates continue full steam ahead on the campaign trail. On the Democratic side, a virtual voting process is underway to officially designate Vice President Kamala Harris as the nominee, with the results expected on Monday. In Arizona, Trump GOP running mate J.D. Vance blamed Harris for the immigration crisis at a visit on the southern border.
Office making promises, and she kept those promises to open the American southern border.
Meanwhile, Harris is condemning Trump for comments about her biracial background, saying she didn't always identify as black. Harris, whose mother is Indian and father is Jamaican, attended a historically black college and is a member of a historically black sorority. She called Trump's remarks both divisive and disrespectful. Well, with us now is Nathan Gonzalez. He is the editor and publisher of Inside Elections and a Faith Nation contributor and a familiar face here on Faith Nation. Nathan, welcome to you. So how do you view the Trump campaign's line of attack against Kamala Harris so far as it digs in, releasing videos that purportedly back up Trump's assertion? And do you think all this talk about Kamala Harris's biracial background, how will that resonate with voters?
Well, John, the key is when we talk about voters, we're talking about tens of millions of people, and we're talking about different people. And I think maybe what the Trump campaign is wrestling with, or doesn't realize at this point, that while those comments or the focus on the vice president's background and her race and identity, that might play well with the Republican base, but those people are going to vote for Trump anyway. I don't think that plays well with independent voters. I think the better play is to talk about policies, to try to hold her responsible for the Bush-Harris administration and the record and the border, or try to focus on what they think she's going to do if she ultimately is president of the United States. But what Trump tried to do, particularly in the interview at the Association of the Black Journalists, I just don't think it worked. Having Trump try to define who she is, it just didn't work. I'll say that I think it's like an atheist walking into a church and start talking about who is and who is not a Christian. It just doesn't work.
Well, speaking of the Biden-Harris administration, we saw GOP vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance at the border today critical of Harris's policies. We're also seeing Harris push back on the campaign trail, pointing back to Trump, saying it was his fault the bipartisan immigration reform bill tanked. Are either of them gaining ground on this issue?
Too early to tell, at least too early to tell in the context of Harris being at the top of the ticket, whether things have shifted on that. I think this is still a vulnerability for Vice President Harris, the entire administration. But Democrats are not going to, they're not going to just play defense. This week I met with 5 different congressional candidates, Democratic congressional candidates, and all of them were bringing up the bipartisan bill that was pushed aside by Republicans because President Trump wanted them to. And so, again, if we're only talking about the border, I think this is a winning issue for Republicans. But now that Biden is not as much a part of the conversation in his age, it's a little more nuanced, and we're talking about other issues as well.
Just a few seconds left here. I know that you read the tea leaves and you're crunching numbers. Any idea on a VP announcement next week in about 10 seconds or so?
Feels like it's going to be either Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro or Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. We'll know on Tuesday, and the vice president and her running mate are going to go on a week-long tour. But the dark horse is probably Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, but I would almost be surprised if it's not Shapiro or Kelly right now.
Well, Nathan, we'll check back in with you next week, or after your vacation, rather. Nathan Gonzalez, editor and publisher of Inside Elections. We always appreciate your insights. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, John. Good to see you.
Likewise. Well, up next, we talk with one of the lawmakers who responded to last week's protests and desecration of the American flag with a grand patriotic stand. Welcome back. Law enforcement wants your help identifying protesters who vandalized statues and monuments in the nation's capital during last week's visit of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Police are also looking for one person accused of assaulting a police officer. A large group of demonstrators spray-painted anti-Israel slogans on statues like "Hamas is coming" and took an American flag down, replacing it with a Palestinian flag. They also burned another U.S. flag. Well, with us now is New York Congressman Brandon Williams, who helped to replace the flag after last week's protest at Union Station right here in Washington, D.C. Congressman, thank you for making time to be with us today. So by now, we've all seen that video of the American flag being burned and then later replaced by a Palestinian flag. Congressman Williams, can you tell us what were your thoughts when you first saw the scene?
Well, John, I'm a Navy veteran, and the flag means a lot to me and to my family. The fact that was happening right at the heart of our democracy, just a few blocks away from the Capitol building, it really got to me, and I knew that we had to do something. And it wasn't until later that evening till the opportunity arose for us to make it right.
So I understand you actually led the recruitment campaign to replace the flag. Can you share how that all started? And then also, once you replaced the flag and Old Glory was restored, what was that like?
Well, it was a very moving night. We had a late night series of votes, I think around 8:30. And as I drove back to the Capitol, I went by Union Station and saw that the 3 American flags that are normally there had not been replaced because earlier, of course, they'd been burned. I had about 45 minutes on the House floor to recruit other members. And of course, I was drawn to other Navy veterans that came and joined me. And then I just happened to grab Speaker Mike Johnson, and I said, Speaker, this is this is what we're going to do. Are you with us? He said, absolutely, I'll be there. And we literally walked down the steps of the Capitol after votes, just like you see on TV. Some walked over to Union Station. It's that close. And some drove. And we just took turns getting the 3 flags rigged. The Metropolitan Police of Washington, D.C. were actually there and welcomed us and helped us. We raised those flags as a very proud moment. And then Congressman Derek Van Orden says, hey, Brandon, why don't you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And we lined up, said the Pledge of Allegiance, and frankly, it's a moment I'll never forget.
What's been the response from your constituents and fellow lawmakers after seeing the video and seeing what you all did?
Well, you know, honestly, I've told the story and retold the story a few times here in Central New York, and people are on the verge of tears. They really connect with this moment in American history. They like that we fought back, that we made it right, and that it was actually the leadership of the country that actually did something tangible and meaningful. And so these kinds of actions are symbolically important. I think they inspire other people to stand up in their communities, stand up and do what's right. It's okay to stand for the flag.
Congressman, we only have a few seconds left, but I do want to ask you, police are not just looking for those who vandalized and destroyed property. We have video shot by one of our videographers. In it, it appears to show one of the leaders of the protest chanting and getting others to speak in Arabic, saying, "We are the people of Mohammed Def." He, of course, is the Hamas military commander who was recently killed in an airstrike. That video is currently being examined by translation experts. If true, how concerning is that?
Well, these are pro-terrorist protesters. When they say death to America, we should take them at their word, particularly when it's in the shadow of our Capitol building and is on our own soil. And so the police have to investigate this and prosecute it to the fullest extent of the law. At a minimum, it's assault on police officers and destruction of government property. Remember, you can burn your own flags. You can't burn government property. That's vandalism and destruction. And we need to find these people. And if they're here, on student visas, I think we should deport them.
Congressman Brandon Williams from New York, thank you so much for making time to join us tonight.
You bet.
Coming up, fines, lawsuits, and even prosecution. The new legal threats some churches face in fulfilling the call of Christ. Welcome back. Statistics show homelessness in America is on the rise. Last year, more than 650,000 people in the United States, according to government figures, struggled to find permanent shelter. That's a record high and a 12% increase from 2022. Experts say several factors are driving the phenomenon, including rising housing costs, surging immigration, and the end of many COVID-19 relief programs. Well, helping the homeless is central to the gospel, but now that call is also at the heart of a growing number of legal challenges nationwide, forcing churches to find sanctuary in a federal law that protects freedom of worship. CBN's Brody Carter explains.
Local authorities are threatening churches and nonprofits with fines and other legal action, accusing them of violating zoning laws and local ordinances by housing and feeding homeless people.
About 6 years ago, we started using trailers on the backside of our property, 2 trailers on the backside of our property, to help those that are struggling in our community.
For several years, the Rock Church in Castle Rock, Colorado provided shelter to people experiencing homelessness in an RV and trailer behind the church. The church's ministries also include food distribution, job training, financial assistance, and other efforts to help them transition into long-term solutions. However, at least one neighbor isn't comfortable with the location of the temporary shelters.
Without any access to basic locations of groceries, work, I don't feel like this is the right place for it.
Between 2021 and 2023, the town ordered the church to cease its ministry. Recently, a judge ordered the ministry could continue housing people in their RVs while the case is heard in the courts.
But it's really difficult for pastors to not only be under these constant threats by the government, have to talk to attorneys in an area that they don't really know that much about, but then also have to continue to care for the desperate ministries around them.
Jeremy Dice, an attorney with First Liberty, is representing the church in its lawsuit against the town for violating the right to practice religion.
This is why we filed a lawsuit because of our religious freedom to continue to do what we believe we're called to do.
It's not only religious freedom at stake. For those being helped, it could mean the difference between staying on the streets or getting a chance at starting a new life.
If it wasn't for this trailer and this church, I feel I would have been in the same position because I wouldn't have left that element that I needed to get away from.
Similar legal battles are being fought across the country. In Byron Center, Ohio, First Liberty is representing Pastor Chris Avell of Dad's Place, who faced nearly 24 criminal charges for housing the homeless. Those charges have since dropped. And in California, a federal judge gave Micah's Way a favorable ruling protecting their outreach efforts.
All of them are united under one theme, that the towns and the cities simply don't want that religious ministry occurring in their neck of the woods and want to push them to the margins of their community, if not shut them down altogether.
Jeremy says the saving grace is a federal law called the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act, which protects religious institutions from discriminatory zoning laws and other land use regulations that are used to restrict religious exercise.
Rather than punishing these pastors, cities should be encouraging them and praising them for their good efforts.
Instead, Jeremy sees this struggle becoming more commonplace. The outcome of these legal battles will have significant implications for religious freedom and community outreach nationwide. Brody Carter, CBN News.
Thank you, Brody. Coming up, a field day for pups during the dog days of summer. We explain next on Faith Nation. And finally tonight, a New Jersey animal shelter found a creative way to keep dogs happy and healthy while awaiting adoption. Taking advantage of a field trip program, volunteers can take a dog out for a couple of hours, whether it's on a walk or a ride in a car. The program benefits both dogs and people.
Many of the dogs that go on field trips do end up getting adopted, and there's some data that shows that they get adopted at a higher rate than dogs that don't go on field trips.
So far this year, 500 dogs have gone on those field trips. Great program. Thanks so much for watching. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow. Good night.